Okay, testing. Today's date is the 19th of December 1998. Doing this session in Candlelight and Ceremony in Honolulu, Hawaii. Arthur Pacheco presiding. A mighty salute to you all. I've been sent here this night by those greater than I, but I'm pleased to do it. For truly I see the need, and I'm happy to fill it. Most of you here have not ever laid eyes on me. I am not one of those that comes regularly. But I have come before, and I shall come again, as the need will prompt me. You all have your destinies to fulfill. You all have your natures, and those you should follow. You should follow them more closely perhaps than you do. I was blessed. I had to do what I had to do when I had to do it. And for that, they say, I became well known. The value perhaps lies in the fact that other hearts got inflamed as well. I could do no less. I could not stop. I could not be silent at the time when my own enlightenment was on the line. I did not see it as such at the time. Certainly not an enlightenment. Rather, freedom. That was all I saw the need for. Freedom. Like all of you, I have worn many hats, many bodies, and many names. I prefer the name Francis. That is who I am. I've been called the Bold. Francis the Bold. But again, given the circumstances, I couldn't be anything less. I refer to the time when I had to rise up and encourage my countrymen to do the same. My name in that day was William Wallace. I was called by the great, great master to oversee the making of a movie about my life. And they called it Braveheart. I worked very closely with Mr. Mel Gibson in that role. And I think the dear boy did a good job of it. So why in the world should I be called here to crash a party? Well, it's got to do with those very times that approach. It's got to do with times that will make some's hearts quake for fear. But you can't buy that fear. You've got to get beyond it. Life's just heating up. You'll all be tasting of the heat here pretty soon. But you'll find in the heat will be the most glorious of the glory days you've ever known. What good is a life half lived? Or what lived worse yet in fear? But there's another side to fear, and it's desire. That's what sees you through it. Observe the children. They always know what they want, and they go for it, don't they? How is it that we do not? How is it that we seem to think it politic to walk sideways when what we want is right before us? How is it that some here, even here, have gotten separate from what they really want to the point of not knowing what it is? Oh, you got to know your own hearts. At least that. You speak of the new time coming. You call it a new year, 1999, you say. Well, I'll tell you, it won't be all that fun. Except for those who are brave. Oh, and then it'll be plenty of fun. In other words, it's coming to the time when either you're going to be brave and go for what you really, really want, or you'll be a quaking like a leaf. Which shall it be? Rediscover your heart. Find where it is if you've got to take a spade to dig it up to it. But find it. For God's sake, find it. I would only be here if someone greater than I thought it a good idea. And so I was called, and so I am before you. I'm to tell you people, good people, that what approaches will be like a mighty storm, but one that'll have music in it, if you got the ears to hear it. But you got to listen. Otherwise, only storm will greet your eyesight and the fear that comes after that. It's a time to rise up and be brave indeed, not to show off, but to show up. It's your own party, your own life. You've planned it. Now the feast is about to be served. Will you be frightened and not show up? Show, I say. Show your mettle. And you'll find the feast more than you need. And you'll be able to take some to those who couldn't attend. There's the one thing you're most afraid of, and you won't face it. Different for each one. There's the one thing you think you can't change, but only a lack of heart is needed. There's that one person you can't say what you really want to say to them. But how's that? Just another soul, just another heart like your own. Oh, my dear people, if you could see it as I do, you'd waste no time in making plans to get precisely what you want as soon as possible. Be like a child again. Don't wait unless God himself bids you do it, but in most cases he doesn't. Be again as little children, proud of what you are and what you want and what you got and what you'll yet have. Do not regret the new year and the storm that it might appear to bring. It's a whirlwind, I tell you, a whirlwind, to blow away the chaff, to blow away the weak, to blow away the boring, and make your lives livable again. This is what approaches. And for the brave, I say, there'll be opportunities aplenty and horses enough to ride. Remember, I've said it. It's not a time for fear. That would be like a disease you don't want to catch. Be brave, each one of you, and you'll rise to the feast of the Lord. Indeed, that is the message then, from one brave heart to another. Be brave, and we love you. And we love you. Heard from this being for many years. The first time that he ever came through, which was years ago, it was at a smaller group than this, and he startled everybody, I mean, to the point of making some people scream, because without warning, he suddenly pounded his fist on the table really hard. Wham! Really hard like that. And then his voice came out, and he said he was Francis the Bold. And then he goes, pardon me, because I didn't realize I'd burst into the room. Like he had no way of gauging his strength, you see, through the body. So it was an unnecessary show of force, you know. Almost smashed the table in two. And then he toned it down a little bit after that. But his message, I think, is very timely, probably more than we know. Our dear friend Estelle Roberts, who some of you are familiar with, came through some time back, and she was in a reading she did, and she was talking about how she saw like what she referred to as storm clouds gathering around the planet. And she said it reminded her of World War II, because she had been in England, and she said she had seen the same storm clouds psychically gathering around the planet, and before long they were bombing London. And she said, you know, death was just blocks away at any given time. She spoke about that and said that there were similarities, and that's why some of us were feeling the way we were feeling. You know, sometimes, you know, mood swings, depression, crazy, you know, just whatever we've all been feeling. You know, and that it's okay, that's just a sign of the times. You know, but that, she said, and she also mentioned that thing about, you know, it was a time when if people could just not lose ground, they were doing good. You know, it's like climbing a mountain, and then a storm comes, well, you just kind of hunker down and, you know, hope that you don't get blown off the mountain. You know, and you're doing okay if you can do that. Any progress you make is extra, believe me. You know, it's dessert. So anyway, it sounds like he's giving us a similar message. You know, my sense of these messages is not, or my reaction is not that of being frightened at what they say, but I'm really grateful for the warning. You know, I always use the analogy of, like, if you knew a hurricane was coming, you'd want people to know. You know, it would be silly to, I don't want to frighten them. Well, they'll be doubly frightened when the hurricane comes, won't they? You know, at least so they can get candles, water, you know, have a hurricane party. You know, it's a little nicer than just, you know, not knowing. It's better to know, I think, in that case. So, anyway, I'm very grateful to him for coming and encouraging us in this way. I seem to recall that movie that was made of his life when he referred to it, Braveheart. That one, I don't know. Did any of you see that? A lot of you did, I don't think. You know, which was all like he said. You know, the way he was saying that he felt he had no choice. He didn't think he was being brave. He was just doing what he had to do. You know, at the time, it'd be like if, you know, a house was burning down and your kids are inside. Well, you're going to go get them. You know, you don't think about, I'm being brave. You just do it because that's what you do. And I think that's what he was referring to. So it's very, very powerful. Whenever such beings come, you know, they leave us the benefit of their aura, of their energy, which I'm real grateful for. I'm real aware of it right now. I feel very empowered, actually. So anyway, I want to thank you all. This brings our evening to a conclusion. In response to, you know, different people's suggestions, we've decided to, you know, this is probably just my fault before, get a little more formal about what the Church of Eternal Light is doing in O'Brien. So some of you will notice we have flyers over there at the table when you walk in, and we're going to be having regular Sunday services, you know, on the first and third Sundays of every month at 11 o'clock here. We're going to have a psychic development class on the first Wednesday, and message service the last Saturday of every month. Just so you know, we try to make it like the first and third, the last, you know, so it's easy to remember. You don't have to always call, but you can call if you want. So anyway, thank you all. God bless you. I love you. It's wonderful to see your faces here. And thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for lighting the candle and for doing the petition. We're all going to be better off as a result of it. You know, so God love you. Have a very wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Happy holiday season, and we'll see you in the new year. Oh, by the way, on the 2nd, we're having New Year's predictions here. And message service as well. So if any of you are curious about what lies ahead, you know, that would be get a peek that night. Okay. So thank you. Good night. God bless you all. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.